Welcome back to another 5 Minutes of Mobility with Coach Nate. In today's mobility, we're going to use a bench or an ottoman or your couch or your bed just to assist in keeping us upright a little more and get a little more of the hip flexor on the side that is closest to the bench. So you can see that my leg is back on the left side. I'm able to use the bench to create some leverage to push upwards. That could be your elbow on the side of your bed if it's a high bed. I'm really able to push the hip in. I can rotate my body over to the side, lean back extra. Once again, you can see I've got the iPad there, so you can just fit these things into your daily routine, whether you're watching a YouTube video, something on your Instagram. You have to pay attention to maybe a meeting that you're in, but you're not on camera, anything like that. You can be super productive with these stretches all day long. Little 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there makes a lot of difference. So you can see that I'm working into the corners, digging around, getting some more groin, hip flexor, all the different angles. I'll spin it around. As you can see, your laptop, iPad, iPhone is very portable, so it's able for you to be moving it around and utilizing it and getting some work done even while you're there. I'm pushing away. You could also go into the twisted lizard variation this, where you reached back and grab your foot. I'm not going to do that in this one here today. I'm focusing on the hip flexor and a little bit into the groin there. You see how I roll the foot down. Using that bench for leverage again. It looks very similar to just a straight dragon stretch. The bench I find really helps to keep me upright and just to get better angles and more leverage on the stretch itself. That front leg is just tracking ahead. As you see here, you could reach up in the air as well to elongate from the palm through the armpit to the hip flexor to the knee, and we're just getting a real long stretch there. That inwards turn that I just finished before that was a bit more groin. We're going to bring it down to the floor here, and we're going to get the glute in the pigeon stretch. So once again, you can see that leg is pretty much straight across. I'm kind of working into the angles. I'm rotating into the dark corners. My hip gets a little lower as I start to relax, moving my space around. I can lean into that. I could even cross my arms in the front and completely relax. Focusing on deep breaths. I like to mark over, see if I can touch my nose to my toes. That always is a good place. I know that I'm in an okay spot flexibility-wise when I can do that. Digging around, just tiny little movements. Deep breaths. We're doing 5 different stretches, 2 hip flexors, 2 glutes, and a sit and reach today. So we're almost at the 3-minute mark. We got 2 minutes to go. Again, I'm just trying to ease into each spot. I'm about a 4 to 6 out of 10 in terms of discomfort. I don't want to be really grinding into the stretch, but again, I want to make sure that I feel a good stretch. So you can see on this side here, my foot's not quite parallel. I adjust a little bit there. My back leg is coming out on a bit of an angle. So you can see that some people are very flexible. They can get that left shoulder to left foot. I can get my head over there, almost get the shoulder down as I go, but my butt's coming off on the other side. That's okay. We don't want to be sitting down into the stretch too much unless that's what gets us the best position. Following up on that point, if we're ever getting a deep stretch in a position that doesn't look exactly like everyone else's, that's okay, as long as you're getting a stretch that you feel in the area that you're trying to mobilize. Just coming up on the end of this one here, I'll just retest, see how that nose to toes feels. Hopefully by the end of a stretch it feels better. I dig around those last little corners a bit, and then I'm going to sweep this leg around to the front, straighten it out. I'll take a deep breath, and then I'm going to lean in. So if you're flexible here, you can see that I'm trying to get a little bit on each side of the low back, shift my hips around. I'm not quite into a full forward fold split. I've got a fairly tight mid and upper back. It's a little rounded, but my hamstrings are pretty good. If I can't reach the toes, I could grab the calves like that for assistance, but if you can, reach over the feet, pull on them, wiggle away there. It just gets a little more calf. If you put your hands down lower, you won't be pulling on the toes as much, so the calves won't be engaged quite as much. Eventually, I'm able to get my head right to the floor some days. I try to at least be able to touch my nose to my knees. I'm kind of leaning my head side to side there. You can see that. That was to kind of stretch the upper back just a little more. A little bit of toe movement gets my hamstrings and calves. And then I'm just easing into those corners. Again, like most times that I'm stretching, you can see that it's a fairly active stretch. I'm not just sitting there still. There we have it. Another 5 minutes of mobility with Coach Nate. We hit the hip flexor on both sides. We've got a good glute stretch on each side, and then a forward fold for the hamstrings and low back. Give it a try, combine it with any of the other mobility pieces, and get good and loose after your workouts.